It was a single phone call, just 5 minutes long, that brought down a tyrant who thought she ruled our neighborhood like a queen. In the quiet of a suburban morning, one act of defiance unraveled a web of corruption so vast it could have cost thousands of lives. This is the story of how my daughter and I, with the help of an unexpected ally, exposed a monster hiding behind the facade of community leadership. If you've ever felt powerless against someone who seemed untouchable, stay with Meta's tale of courage and retribution will hit home. The morning of July 15th dawned like any other in our Oak Ridge neighborhood, a tidy cluster of colonial homes just outside Richmond, Virginia. My daughter, Emily, 16 and brimming with ambition, was packing her duffel bag into our Ford Escape. She was headed to the airport for a prestigious MIT summer engineering program, a dream her late mother, Sarah, had nurtured since Emily was a child. Sarah's battle with breast cancer ended 3 years ago, but her fierce spirit lived on in Emily's determination. "Dad, stop with the worried face," Emily teased, catching me staring. At 52, I'm a structural engineer by trade, cautious by nature, and Emily's sharp wit always reminded me of Sarah. As Emily loaded her bag, I heard the sharp clack of heels on pavement. Margaret Hensley, the Oak Ridge HOA president, strode toward our driveway. At 45, Margaret carried herself with the authority of a dictator, her auburn hair pulled into a tight bun. She'd made a habit of meddling in everyone's lives, cloaking her control in community safety rhetoric. "James Carter," she called, her voice clipped. "We need to discuss Emily's driving privileges. A 16-year-old alone on the highway is a safety risk." Emily rolled her eyes, whispering, "Here comes the HOA Gestapo." I tried to keep things civil. "Margaret, Emily's heading to MIT. We're on a tight schedule." But Margaret planted herself in front of our car, blocking the driveway. "I've consulted Vanguard Security to assess the situation," she said, gesturing to a black SUV at the end of the block. Emily's voice cracked with outrage. "You called security to stop me from going to MIT? I've never even had a speeding ticket." I noticed a small camera on Margaret's collar. She was recording everything, and her smug posture suggested this was no spontaneous act. Margaret's tone turned icy. "As HOA president, I can't allow a potential accident to tarnish our safety record. Vanguard will evaluate Emily's competency." Emily's eyes pleaded with me. "Don't let her ruin this, Dad." But my old hesitation crept in, the same paralysis that gripped me during Sarah's illness, when I questioned every choice. Margaret sensed my weakness, her smile sharpening as she dialed her phone. 2 men in suits emerged from the SUV, their presence menacing. Emily's voice cut through my fog. "Dad, you're not going to let her win again, are you? You can't keep letting things slip away because you're scared." The standoff dragged on for 20 agonizing minutes. Vanguard backed off, citing no legal grounds to detain us, but the delay cost Emily her MIT deadline. At the airport, she stared at the registration closed message on her laptop, her dreams crumbling. The drive home was silent, her disappointment heavier than any argument. That night, guilt drove me to do something I hadn't done since Sarah's death: dig for answers. My engineering background gave me access to public records, and what I found about Margaret Hensley chilled me. Margaret had filed 47 safety interventions in 6 months, targeting 23 families during critical moments: job interviews, medical appointments, and college applications. It wasn't random. She was systematically silencing anyone who might challenge her. Worse, she held executive roles in 3 HOAs: Oak Ridge, Pineview, and Maplewood, violating state laws. Her pet project, the River Crossing Contract, a $15 million federal bridge connecting 2 highways, was managed by Vanguard Development, a shell company linked to her security firm. The financial trail screamed corruption. Emily found me at 2 a.m., surrounded by HOA bylaws and contracts. "Dad, what's this?" she asked, her voice still raw. I showed her the evidence. "Margaret's not just a nosy neighbor, Emily. She's running a criminal operation, and that bridge project is a fraud." The next morning, Margaret escalated her attack, flooding our neighborhood's Facebook group with edited footage of Emily's careful driving, twisted to look reckless. Neighbors who'd known Emily for years turned against her, posting about teenage recklessness and even suggesting child services investigate me. Emily's quiet pain as she read the comments broke my heart. "They're all believing her," she said, tears welling. Mrs. Thompson, who baked me cookies, thinks I'm a danger. The breaking point came when Emily said, "Dad, you're so focused on small risks you're missing the real threat right across the street." Her words hit like a sledgehammer. Then our neighbor, Mrs. Evelyn Brooks, knocked on our door. At 70, Evelyn seemed like a retired librarian, but her sharp eyes told a different story. "James, I'm not just a pensioner," she said, pulling out a leather portfolio. "I'm Evelyn Brooks, retired FBI agent. For 2 years, I've been investigating Margaret under the Federal Highway Administration's Fraud Division." Evelyn's documents revealed the river crossing project was part of a $120 million federal initiative built on falsified geological surveys. "These reports claim bedrock, but the soil is clay," I said, horrified. "This bridge could collapse in 5 years." Evelyn's voice grew heavy. "My grandson, Tommy, died 2 years ago when a park bridge built by Vanguard collapsed. He was 12, photographing cracks for a school project. Margaret's company cut corners, and he paid the price." Emily gripped my hand. "Dad, how many kids like Tommy will die if we don't stop her?" That night, I filed whistleblower reports with the FHA, Army Corps, and DOT, attaching Evelyn's evidence. Margaret retaliated swiftly. My engineering license was suddenly under review, and Emily faced a fabricated cyberbullying investigation. A note slipped under our door read, "Your interference has been noted. Continued harassment will have permanent consequences." But Emily's faith in me, stronger than ever, pushed me forward. Then came the lawsuit, Hensley versus Carter, seeking custody of Emily for parental neglect. Margaret weaponized my grief over Sarah, claiming I was emotionally unfit. I broke down, sobbing. "Maybe she's right, Emily. Maybe I'm not strong enough." Emily's anger shocked me. "Are you kidding? Mom fought cancer with everything she had, and you're letting this monster use her death against us? I'm not a neglected kid, Dad. Fight for me." Evelyn's next visit changed everything. She revealed Councilman Robert Hayes, Margaret's supposed ally, was an FBI undercover agent documenting her fraud. Margaret's network spanned 12 communities, defrauding $50 million. Her cryptocurrency laundering hid $15 million in taxable income, and she was eyeing a $2 billion Interstate 95 contract. If her river crossing succeeded, she'd control critical infrastructure with deadly flaws. Emily's resolve hardened. "We're not just saving our family, Dad. We're stopping her from killing thousands." At 3 a.m., federal agents surrounded our house not for us, but because of us. Agent Laura Mitchell explained that our reports triggered raids across 4 counties. Margaret's network was collapsing, but she'd vanished, tipped off by corrupt officials. Worse, she planned to trigger bridge collapses during rush hour to destroy evidence and cover her escape. Her psychological profile was chilling. A narcissist who saw mass casualties as necessary sacrifices. A message to Emily's phone read, "Enjoy your last day with your father." The community meeting at Oak Ridge Elementary became a reckoning. 47 families shared stories of Margaret's harassment-blocked college applications, sabotage jobs, false neglect reports. Margaret arrived with cameras and a live stream, painting herself as a victimized leader. But Emily stole the show, distributing a 23-page report exposing Margaret's fraud with photos of defective bridges and falsified records. "Mrs. Hensley claims she's protecting us," Emily said, "but she's protecting herself from accountability." She showed footage of Margaret's illegal contractor meetings, and the room erupted. Mrs. Alvarez, tears streaming, demanded, "How many of our kids were you willing to sacrifice for your money?" Margaret stormed out, texting me, "Project Clean Slate activated. Structural failures at the 6 a.m. rush hour. Consider this my resignation." With 6 hours to act, Emily realized Margaret's narcissism was her weakness. "She'll want to film the collapse to play the prophet," she said. Evelyn spotted Margaret's Lexus near the river crossing, setting up cameras. At 5:55 a.m., Emily called the FHA, identifying herself as Emily Carter, daughter of engineer James Carter, and reported a terrorist attack. In 5 minutes, she gave Margaret's location and voided the bridge's contract for fraud. At 6:02 a.m., agents arrested Margaret midstream, and the bridge closed. Her final words, broadcast to a handful of viewers, were, "I was saving them from their stupidity." Margaret faced 23 federal charges, from terrorism to murder conspiracy, and 47 state charges. Her $73 million laundering network collapsed. 3 weeks later, Emily got her MIT acceptance with a full scholarship from a new safety foundation inspired by our case. I finally understood Sarah's words to Emily: honor the dead by protecting the living. Our neighborhood rebuilt, stronger, without Margaret's shadow. This story isn't just about use, it's about standing up to bullies who hide behind authority. Have you faced injustice or abuse of power? Share your thoughts below, especially on how we confront cruelty and corruption in our communities. Take a stand, voice your perspective, and let's build a conversation that inspires change. Like, subscribe, and share to spread this story of ordinary people doing extraordinary things.